All right, welcome everyone here to our masterclass today. My name is Heather Choate. I am the co-owner and co-founder of High Thrive Coaching with Mark Johnston. Some of you may know him. And we are grateful and excited that you guys are here. This is a very special week as we are approaching the holidays. And I just really honor you guys for taking time to focus on what matters most. And my intention is to share not just great information with you, but to help you have transformation. Because that's what we need more of, right? We need results and we need to turn things around quickly. If your marriage is heading towards divorce, if your spouse is having an affair, if they say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, then you're in the right place. And today we're going to talk about the 4 steps to save my marriage. I created a new masterclass and I felt, I just feel like we should just go back to basics and then do something kind of special here at the end, open it up for a Q&A. So I want this to be a dialogue, not just a monologue. And the best way to do that is to use the chat and let me know what questions you have. My team member, Diego here, will help answer questions that you have as well. And we'll show you what the next steps are to help you to save your marriage from divorce. So let's dive into it. Let me know in the chat. I'm going to launch, let me know in this poll. I'm going to launch a poll here. What is your situation? So we can go deeper into that together today. So are you like couple A, you have divorce filed, or your spouse is threatening divorce? Maybe you want to know what to do to cancel that and how to get back with them. All right. Couple B would be dealing with no trust, affairs, maybe even multiple affairs. Maybe you've had an affair or they've had an affair or multiple affairs, or they're just other serious breaches in trust between you right now. Maybe you don't believe what they say or they don't believe what you say either. And then couple C would be really dealing with a lot of communication challenges, maybe even no communication. You can't talk without arguing. Maybe your spouse has blocked you. They don't open up and they avoid deeper levels of communication. So awesome. I can see some answers coming in. Thank you guys for sharing that. That helps me go deeper into it. And yeah, I'm seeing that, yeah, A and B, sometimes it can be several of them, sometimes even all of them. All right, thanks for weighing in here. Yep, you have all 3, exactly. All right, I'm going to end the poll. And we're seeing that we have about 40% of you no trust affairs and 60% of you divorce talks or divorce being filed. All right, thank you guys for sharing that. Appreciate it. All right, so now I want you guys to ask yourselves these 2 questions, okay? And put your answers in the chat so I know where you're at with this. Where do I want my marriage to be 3 months from now? So go ahead, put that in the chat. Where do you really want your marriage to be 3 months from now, a year from now, 6 months from now? Where do you want your marriage to go? Because if you don't decide, then who will, right? You're the only one that gets to decide where you're going to go in your relationship. So where do you want your marriage to be 3 months from now? And how will it feel to have your spouse in love with you again? Okay. James says, same as it was in my past 14 years. Okay. I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that, James, but we want it to be even better than it was 14 years ago because we want to build a healthier, stronger foundation. So these same problems that you're experiencing right now don't come back. Make sense? All right. So sometimes we just really crave what we had. And I understand that feeling, but we actually want to improve what was you had even back then. Okay. All right. Awesome. He says, yes. Cool. Still together, celebrating my birthday. Our son's in March. Okay. So what did that feel like there, Robert, to be together and to be celebrating your birthdays? And that, I don't know if you're currently separated or what's going on there. If you're in the same household, but maybe not sharing the same room, or maybe you're just, things are really tense and your spouse is saying they want out. So what would that feel like to have them want to work on the marriage with you, to be willing to stick it out and willing to improve things? Okay. Let me know what that would really feel like. I want to face divorce gone. No other woman. It would feel wonderful and amazing. Yeah. And James says it would be amazing to have my wife love me. Yes, it will be. All right. Beautiful. And for those who are just joining, I really want you to use the chat as a way to weigh in with me. And the deeper that you go, the more I can help you. So feel free to use that. I'm the only one that can see it here, and it's perfectly confidential. All right. So now that you know where you want to go and you know how it will feel to get there, the only thing that's left to do is how. How do I get there? And that's the question that I'm going to help you guys answer today. So our big discovery is that we've been working with thousands of couples now. We've been doing this since 2017. We've helped over 15,000 couples now. We have over 12,000 students active on Teachable right now in our courses and programs. And we found that there's one thing that's a big reason why marriages are ending in divorce. And I say it's something insane because no one else is even talking about this. And it's the 4 steps to save your marriage. And I really want to go over these basics and then open it up for a Q&A. Sound good? So I'm going to go a little faster, maybe than I do if you've been to masterclass before, to go through these, because I really want to work with you guys one-on-one. Just a bit of a heads up. We are going to be sharing with you guys how you can get a free marriage breakthrough call with us, but our team is actually completely full. They're completely booked. And so we're going to get you guys on the waiting list. That's why I really want to be able to answer some of your questions now, because I don't want you guys to have to wait too long to be able to get the help that you guys want. All right. Awesome. Sounds good. I love this comment here from Sylvia. Yeah, 7 years ago, it was amazing, going on 4 bad years. That's a lot of bad years there. So better than before, family sabotaged. It would feel amazing to be in love and know that we made it. Robert says it would be incredible to be able to have her love me and show me love and not have her use the kids against me. And for me to show her love. Love that. Awesome. So let's dive into step 1 right off the bat here. Step 1 is going to be hitting the pause button. Actually, let me go back real quick. I want to ask you guys a question. Maybe you've been following us on our podcast or on YouTube, or maybe you're brand new and you don't know much about High Thrive. You don't know much about what we do. Either way, I'd love to test you a bit here and ask you, which of these steps do you think most people push for first when their spouse is pulling away? Which of these do most people want from their spouse? Is when they're pulling away, when they're saying, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, when they're having an affair, when they want a divorce? What do most people try to get first right off the bat? Connection. Awesome. Thanks, Robert. Any other takers? Are they going for connection? Are they going for pause button? Are they going for commitment? What do most people want when their spouse starts pulling away? Waiting for your answers. Some people want the pause button. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard that. That's cool, Sylvia. Connection and commitment. Commitment. Exactly. Yeah, most people push their spouse to come back to me. Tell me everything's going to be okay. Let me know that you're committed to this, because right now, when you're saying that you're not committed, that's scary. And I want to feel safe here. So show me that you're committed, right? Or show me that we have connection. Show me that you are in love with me, or show me that we can rebuild, right? And what happens is that if you push for these, connection and commitment, right up off the bat, it's going to backfire. And I'll show you why. So the first step that we take our clients through to successfully have them navigate this, successfully have their spouse come back to them, is by hitting the pause button, okay? And when you hit the pause button, what that means is that your spouse is no longer pulling away from you more, and they're no longer moving closer towards divorce or another person. Now, I have 8 kids. I've been married 17 years with my husband, Ben, and one of my sons just loves trains, especially when he was a little guy. And he was so cute. He loved Thomas and all that stuff. And I think this analogy about trains works really, really well. A train gets a lot of momentum, right? And it's like right now, your marriage is on the train, on the tracks, heading for the cliff, right? Heading towards disaster. And it's just chugging along, right? Many of you may feel like it's completely out of control and your spouse is just calling all the shots here, and it's just heading right off the edge. And so in order to change the momentum of a train, can you just immediately turn it from going this direction off the tracks to going in a safe direction? No, like what do the engineers do, right? They have to slam on the brakes and get all that momentum to stop first. And so that's what we're talking about here, is that we have to slow down and stop the momentum and stop the damage from becoming even worse before we're able to turn things around. And that's why it's so vital that you hit the pause button before you start to push for connection or commitment. Make sense? Okay, does that analogy work? Okay, awesome. Yeah, we just did a podcast on this yesterday in our Thriving Marriage group. So if you didn't have a chance to see that, go ahead and check that out, about how to get your spouse's commitment. We talk about how you need to do things in order. So pause button is first. How do you know if your spouse has hit the pause button? They are no longer actively pulling away from you more. They stop going forward with divorce or separation, and they stop talking about leaving. This is one of the first markers that we as marriage experts and coaches look for, is that your spouse kind of just stops talking about separation or divorce, and they kind of stop pulling away from you more. Now note, they are not decided yet. What's going on is they are considering the possibility of staying and being happy with you, okay? They are not decided yet. So let me know in the chat, do you feel like your spouse has hit the pause button yet? Have they taken divorce off the table? Are they no longer with their affair partner? Are they no longer pulling away from you more? So let me know. Nope. If they don't talk, do you, let's see, maybe rephrase that question, Robert. No, he brought the other woman an engagement. Okay, we definitely need to talk about that. Taz Bear there, because yeah, that's a sign that things are getting a lot more dangerous with your situation. Yeah. So how do you know if they don't talk to you? Gotcha. Yeah. So if they're not talking to you, that means they haven't hit the pause button yet. Because if they're not talking to you at all, if you don't have communication, then they're still pulling away from you more. Make sense? Okay. So we'll talk about how to get your spouse to hit the pause button. Most people, yeah, only negative communication. Okay. So if you have only negative communication and they're pulling away more, that means you haven't hit the pause button yet. Can you all see and hear me okay? Looks like something went weird with my screen. So I want to make sure. Okay. So most people miss that too. And it's a big reason why they don't save their marriage from divorce. And the good news is that you can learn how to hit the pause button with our proven process. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes most people make is pushing for their spouse's full commitment too soon and putting too much pressure on the marriage, which is only going to backfire. And I'm going to illustrate this here with our push versus pull method. Okay. And so these are some really common mistakes that many people are making. And you may have a huge aha moment here and be like, oh my goodness, I am making one of those. No wonder why my spouse is pulling further away. So demanding that they work on the marriage. This can sound like, you need to go to counseling. You need to work on this with me. You need to do it for the kids. You need to honor your marriage vows. You need to leave the affair partner. You need to change so that I can feel better here. Okay. How many of us are making demands of our partner, right? What about manipulating them to try to get them back? This can look like really upfront forms of manipulation, like, hey, if you go out with that person, then I'm going to go do whatever I want with whoever I want, right? If you have that affair, I'm going to have an affair. If you divorce me, then I'm going to take the kids, right? We make these like threats, trying to manipulate our spouse's behaviors. Sometimes it can also look a little more subtle, a little more of like the passive aggressive kinds of manipulation, like pretending that someone's interested in you at work, or pretending that you're talking to someone on social media to try to get them jealous, to try to make them come back, right? These things are ugly, but we do them, right? I've done them. It's not pretty, but let's just be real about what we're doing, right? And what about begging, pleading, acting out of desperation? Please don't go. Please come back. Please give me another chance. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you. I'll do anything, right? And all the positive things that we think we're doing to try to win them back. If we're still just trying to get them back, then we're doing it from the wrong place. Okay. So how many of us are doing any of these? And the last one is freezing and doing nothing out of fear. Sometimes we don't know what to do and we're afraid of doing the wrong thing. So we end up doing nothing and our spouse pulls further away. So we call this the push method because it only pushes your spouse further away. All right. Yeah, lawyers are pushing the fast forward button. Okay, I'm going to some comments here. She's making those threats at me. That's why we go talk to someone or take the kids. Yeah, I have made all of those mistakes. Exactly. Yeah, and so that's really common. Most people make these because what happens, and I'm going to share it with you, is that there's actually a biological reason behind this. and how we cannot trust our own biology. We cannot trust our own instincts in this situation. Before I get to that though, we're going to share with you our pull method. And this is how we help our clients pull their spouse to them like a magnet. So they want to be with you and they want to work on the marriage. The first thing is to take the pressure off so they no longer feel the need to have more space from you. If your spouse is saying, I need space, oftentimes it isn't even so much physical space. It means they want you off their back and stop putting so much pressure on them to make the relationship work. And that's actually what we want to do. I know your instinct is to try to push them to work on the relationship, but when we take the pressure off, we allow them to hit the pause button because they no longer feel the need to go further away from us. Okay. And so as we take the pressure off, then we also validate them and increase understanding. Right now, if they're saying, just as an example, if they're saying, please stop talking to me about the relationship, it's over. I told you it's over. And you keep coming to them talking about the relationship. What kind of signal is that sending your spouse in this hypothetical situation, right? It's sending them a signal that you're not listening to them. You're not respecting what they're asking for, and that you're just going to continue doing what you want to do. So they might as well just keep moving on. So if you send a new signal by doing what we call a pattern interrupt, and you do honor their request to stop talking about the relationship, that's going to show them that you are listening, that you do respect them, and it's going to help them feel like there's a measure of safety and now trust between you. As you increase understanding about where they're coming from by knowing what their perspective is, which is the P in PATH, is perspective, that's going to show them that you're now doing things in a different way. When we do things in a different way, we get different results. We all know the definition of insanity. If you keep doing what you're doing right now, what result are you going to get, right? So we have to do some new things in some new ways. How do we know what patterns you should interrupt? Now, that's exactly what we help our clients do because it's a case-by-case situation. What right now, you are in a pattern with your spouse. There's a certain way that you're talking or not talking, right? When you are just talking about the kids, or when you're talking about surface level things, or when you're talking to the lawyers, or when they bring up this thing, there's a certain pattern that you guys are in. And you may have been in this pattern for weeks, months, sometimes even years, right? I talked to an 82-year-old a couple months ago who had been in this pattern for decades. So what we want to do is we'll identify what that pattern is with you and show you how you can interrupt that pattern. And when you interrupt that pattern, it's going to get your wife or husband's attention. So they hit the pause button and they realize something is different here about Robert and Tazbear and Sylvia and James. There is something different here. What is going on? Okay. And then that will have them hit the pause button and slow down the momentum of where the train is heading right now. Make sense? All right. So how do we do this? I mentioned earlier that there is a biological reason behind this. I'm going to share with you what that is. So most people feel so overwhelmed, so unsure, and full of pain and fear that they totally get this wrong when they try to do it on their own, and they do other ineffective methods out there. And I want you to know it's really not your fault that you have not been able to do this on your own. There is a biological reason behind this. See, what happens is that after a fight, or your spouse leaving, walking out the door, or saying, I want a divorce, or handing you the papers, right? Or I love you, but I'm not in love with you, or finding out that they are having an affair, or wondering if they are having an affair, right? What happens in any of these situations is that there is a heightened emotional state where your body responds to the rejection and the tension as if it were an actual physical trauma or threat. And your brain pumps out cortisol, epinephrine, all these stress hormones that just flood every single cell in your body within seconds. And your body and brain were designed to do this to protect us from dangerous situations. Back in the day, like when we were on the savannah and we had to worry about like a lion attacking us, we needed this fight, flight, or freeze response. Okay. So even though in this case, there isn't a lion, right? It's your spouse, like the lion's become your spouse, and there may not be a physical danger right now, your body and your brain actually doesn't know the difference. And this process of going into fight, flight, or freeze mode clouds your thinking and causes you to react out of instinct. So you do not make very logical decisions. And emotionally, you can't help but get into fear. Another interesting thing is that the blood flow to the higher reasoning part of our brains is almost completely reduced during this state. So we are not in a place to make very logical, reasonable decisions or actions. We tend to just react. That's why we go into demanding, pleading, manipulating, and freezing out of fear. And all of those things push your spouse further away. Now, getting into this fight, flight, or freeze mode can lead to really intense emotional stress, right? Even physical pain. And I bet you can feel it in your body right now as you're thinking about this emotional distress, as you're thinking about all the worry and anxiety and how you can't sleep at night and how you can't focus at work, how you're so worried about the kids, right? Whatever's going on in your situation, I bet you can feel it somewhere in your body. It might feel like tension and heaviness on your shoulder, like bricks are just weighing you down, like the weight of the world is just pressing on you, or like you can't breathe and there's just a ton of bricks laying on your chest, or feel like being stabbed in the heart, or like anxiety, like a knot of anxiety in the pit of your stomach, or tension in your mind. Like you just can't understand this. You just can't figure out what's really going on. So where do you guys feel it in your body right now? Let me know. Are you experiencing some of these things, with this emotional distress and this intense physical pain and these effects that it has? I'm going to go to the chat here. If you guys are just joining us, please use the chat and let me know what's going on. Yeah, you completely described everything correctly. I can't breathe and have 6 elephants on my shoulders. My heart hurts really bad. I can't sleep. Yeah, exactly. And so that is what is going on for you guys. So if you rely on your instincts right now, which is what most people do, there's no way that you can expect to be in a clear-headed manner to draw them back to you. And that's where most people fail to ever salvage their marriage, because they just stay in this instinct mode. And more couples are ending up getting divorced because they aren't taught how to get out of that biological instinct. The good news is that you don't have to do it alone and risk losing them forever. And you can learn how to do that. So we've created this scientifically proven 4-step process that will take you from where you are right now. Point A, feeling like you've got 6 elephants on your shoulders and your heart hurts really bad and you can't sleep, right? Where you're broken, unhappy, they're having an affair, you don't trust each other, you don't know what to do, and everything you do seems to backfire. That's where you guys are at right now, or something close to it, right? To point B, where you said you want to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, where you're back together with your spouse and you're crazy in love more than ever before, and you have healthy foundations that you didn't have before, so that these problems do not ever come back, right? You have a healthy, strong relationship that will stand the test of time. And you'll learn how to stop unintentionally pushing them away and how to pull them back to you naturally and effortlessly, just like that magnet. You're just drawn back together. They want to be with you. You're no longer manipulating them or trying to force them to come back. They want to come back. So that is why it is so important to have guidance from an expert, so you know what will work and what will not. You cannot read the label when you are inside the bottle. And we are all inside the bottle of our own marriage. It takes someone from the outside, an expert who knows how to read this bottle, right? How to diagnose what's really going on and prescribe the exact treatment plan to get you to the result that you want. Now, some of you may know my personal story and some of you may not, but I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at the age of 29 while I was pregnant with our 6th baby. I was given a 5% chance of living to today. All right. And so what would have happened if I just tried to do it myself, DIY this, right? If I just felt this cancer tumor, I have this tumor here, this lump, and I was like, okay, I know what it is. I'm just going to do surgery on myself and I'm going to fix this, right? That's what most people are doing with their marriage. Or maybe they're going to like a general doctor, a therapist, or someone else that does not know exactly how to read the label on your bottle, right? How to diagnose what's really going on. What I did was go to the top expert in the world that knew how to treat young women, pregnant women with my exact type of cancer, okay? And she knew how to read the bottle, how to diagnose what was really going on, and how to prescribe the right treatment plan. And that is exactly what we do for marriages. We are the ICU. We only handle the most extreme cases. People are on the verge of divorce. That's what we do every single day. So you need someone that can read the label on your bottle to diagnose what's really going on here and then show you how to get a successful outcome. So do you guys want your marriage assessed by an expert? If so, let me know over in the chat and we will send you a link where you can book a free marriage assessment call with us right after the masterclass. Now, I did mention that our calendar is fully booked, and it is. We're fully booked right now. So we will add you to our waiting list and get you on just as soon as spots open up. Obviously, with the holidays, we do have limited availability, but we do want to help as many people as possible. So my team member over there, Diego, if you could please message the people that are saying yes over in the comments and get them the link to that marriage assessment. Now, some of you may be watching the replay. And so we will put the link to this marriage assessment in the email that goes with the replay as well, so that you have a chance to book. But it is first come, first serve. And so we'll be opening up spots just as soon as we can. So if that speaks to you, I encourage you to get it quickly. It's completely free, where we diagnose what's going on in your marriage and show you what the next steps are to get a happy outcome. All right. Just like I was only given a 5% chance, but I'm here and I'm happy and I'm well. You may think it's impossible to overcome your situation, and we'll tell you if it's possible or not and how you can have a successful outcome also. So after we do this assessment with you and you know what's going on in your marriage, then it's really vital that you follow the plan, right? That you do the treatment to get to the outcome. So you can successfully hit all 4 of these reconciliation markers, these 4 steps that I'm talking about today, because without all 4, your marriage won't be saved. So here is a win that came from one of our clients anonymously. She said, Heather, my wife served me Heather, my wife served me a separation agreement a month ago, and I've been looking it over, making little edits and comments so we can go over it together first. This morning, she tells me that she doesn't want me to sign it. She said, let's wait and see what happens. We can always make a new one later on if we have to. She hasn't said she wants back in, but this feels really good. I've actually been doing less and thought it was giving up. Thank you and Mark for founding High Thrive and making this information and support available. So what stage is this client at? Is it hitting a pause button? Is it having her take steps towards him? Connection or commitment? You guys are really smart. I want to make sure that you are looking at that, paying attention to that. Oh, and Diego posted the free assessment link over there. It's just a jot form that you can fill out real quick, and then you will be able to, we'll reach out to you and book your call. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, it's the pause button. Yeah, steps towards him, almost. This is the pause button. So this client, his wife was pulling away, wanted a separation agreement, and then she said, hey, let's wait. See what happens. She's giving herself an out. She's saying, let's see if we can make a new one later on, right? She hasn't said she wants back in, but this feels really good. And he thought he was doing less and that it was giving up, but it actually wasn't. Oftentimes you realize that it's very few things that you need to do. It's just a few tweaks that you need to do of what you're doing right now to pattern interrupt, take the pressure off so that your spouse will hit the pause button. And then from there, we can go on to step 2. Which is where they take some steps towards you. Here is where your spouse wants to spend more time with you as they become attracted to you again. Our goal here is to have them want you and want to spend more time with you, okay? And it's going to turn them from an unwilling spouse, unwilling to talk about things, unwilling to work on things, unwilling to even consider it, to become willing to. Oftentimes at this stage, we will see what's called the teeter-totter effect, where they might be a little hot and cold one moment, okay? So let me know in the chat, are you experiencing some of that hot and cold, where they're starting to take steps towards you and then they pull away? Are they wanting to spend time with you? Are they wanting to talk with you? Are they open to talking about things with you? Are they willing to work on the relationship at all, at any level? If so, let me know over in the chat, okay? I know a lot of you said you hadn't even hit the pause button, and that's okay. But some of you may be in this stage, so I want to check in and see where you guys are at. So does anyone feel like you have hit this stage where your spouse wants to spend time with you and might even be inviting you on dates? Okay. He does, but I found out about the ring on Tuesday, not sure where to go now. Okay. Yeah. And so your spouse gave the affair partner a ring, right? If I remember right. And so you want to make sure that that hot and cold goes to your favor. No, all cold. It doesn't want to work on it at all, but I feel she sends mixed messages sometimes. So right there, Robert, means that there's a huge opportunity for you to get things going in the right direction if she's even giving you mixed messages when she hasn't hit the pause button yet. Okay. So if you haven't hit this milestone yet, that's okay. And most people never get there either, because what they don't know is what I'm sharing with you today. And what happens is it usually you just kind of lost a spark, or you let unhealthy patterns more often than not, and issues get in the way. And that's why they said they needed space, or they started to pull back or wanted out. And this is what it really means when they're saying, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It means that while they care for you, they've lost their desire for you and their desire to work on the relationship. And this is why desire is actually more powerful than love, because you can love someone and have no desire to be with them. It's weird, but it's true. But you can get their desire back. And it's easier than you might realize if you do it the right way. So instead of letting your fear repel their desire for you even more, and that's what happens, like we said in step 1, if you rely on your biological instincts, right? So rather than doing that, we want to make sure we do it the right way. And the biggest mistake you can make right now is trying to resolve really deep issues, or like the infidelity issues right now, if you don't even have any of their desire to work on things. That's like trying to drag a camel to water, right? You can kick, you can scream, you can bribe, you can remind them of their vows, demand that they work on the marriage. You can remind them of all your happy times together. You can try to convince them all you want, but if the camel isn't thirsty, it's not going to drink, okay? So let me know in the chat, what have you already done to try and solve this issue? What have you already done to try to get them to become willing to work on a relationship with you, or willing to talk about things with you? And why do you think it hasn't worked? Have you tried therapy? Have you tried counseling? Have you invited them to go to therapy and they wouldn't go and they refused to go? Or maybe your therapist said it's a lost cause, you should just move on, right? Have you gone to your pastor, your friends, your family, YouTube videos, self-help books, any of those kind of things? Let me know over in the chat. I personally did all of those. I read every self-help book out there. I did the Love Dare twice and thought I could just like service my husband to death. And then I found out that wasn't his love language. So I tried love languages, and then that was just too surface level. It didn't fix anything that was underneath that. So that left me with a lot of confusion, because that's what happens when you don't have specific guidance to help you with your relationship. All right, I've worked on myself and therapy for myself, watched all marriage help videos. Yeah, a lot of us try to do that, right? We try to work on ourselves. And if that was the solution in and of itself, then everyone would have a happy marriage, because almost everyone's improving themselves in some way. And that's a huge myth that's out there. Working on yourself is good for you, but it's not the solution to save your marriage, okay? The solution is to pattern interrupt, to get them to hit the pause button, to get them to see that they actually want to be with you. All right, tried therapy, watched videos, still in therapy. Yeah, thanks, Lou, appreciate that. So if you and your spouse aren't blissfully in love right now, it means you've missed something along the way, right? And what you're missing is their desire for you, and their desire and willingness to work on the marriage. Their desire, their willingness will make all the rest unfold exactly as it's meant to. And we literally coach our clients word for word on what to say to reignite that spark of desire again, how to become a safe place so they want to talk to you, what to text them, how to have in-person conversations, how to improve and increase the conversations that you're having right now, and make sure that your efforts don't keep backfiring, and that you stop unintentionally pushing your spouse further away. We show them exactly what to do to have your spouse naturally feel attraction for you again. So now that your spouse has hit the pause button, we're going to show you how to flip an emotional switch that's deep inside your spouse, so that they desire to be with you again. They desire to work on the relationship, and they start taking steps towards you. This is what it looks like. Biggest win yet. After 2 months, and I was doing everything wrong until I started the program and changed my whole outlook in stubborn ways. It was heartbreaking to hear that she was moving into her own townhouse last week. But it simply turned into her missing me, and she reached out. We talked here and there, but yesterday she called me out of the blue and we had a great talk. Even better today, and tonight she dropped more hints than a little that she wants to get back together. So do you see what he did right here? She wanted out. she got her own townhouse and he took the pressure off, right? He took the pressure off. And then what happened when he did that? She hit the pause button. And then all of a sudden what happens? She starts missing him and starts reaching out to him. And he changed the pattern that he was in with his outlook, his stubborn ways, as he calls them. And then now she's wanting to talk to him. She's reaching out to him. She called him out of the blue. We had a great talk. And now she is the one dropping hints that she wants to get back together. So we flip the switch so that you're no longer the one chasing after your spouse, but your spouse is the one chasing after you, willing to talk about things, wanting to talk about things. How good would that feel, right? If suddenly you just kind of call off the pursuit and now your spouse is the one pursuing you, right? Remember that client before, he thought he was giving up? No, he's actually doing what works. And it's not a manipulation. They actually want to do it because they have the desire to do it for you. And it feels good and right and natural, just like it should be, because you want them to come back and love you for who you really are and accept you for who you really are, which brings us here to step 3. And that's exactly what we help you do here, is deepen that connection so that you both feel safe and close to each other. And often here, your spouse will invent excuses just to be around you. It's a really great stage, but here is where most people make a huge mistake. And I want to make sure you don't make it as well when you get there, when we help you get there, or if you're there right now, okay? You either A, get stuck in what we call the friends stage, right? Roommate stage, the friends stage, or B, you push too hard, too soon for commitment and it backfires. So let me know in the chat, have you made either one of these mistakes if you've gotten to step 3 here? You got stuck in the friend stage, or did you push too hard, too soon for commitment and it backfires? All right. See some comments coming in. Thank you, Robert. I'll definitely check in on that. She's being stubborn and refuses to seek help with counseling. Yeah. All right. So does anyone feel like they've gotten here yet? Because oftentimes I will have someone that says, you know, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. So their spouse saying, right? Yeah, you didn't get that far. Or they'll say, you know, we're just better as friends, or you can talk about things and things are actually pretty chill between you, but they still want out. Okay. That's a sign that you got stuck with one of these mistakes here. Okay. I don't think anyone in the chat is letting me know that they're here yet. So if that's you, let me know. We'll go deeper into it. Okay. So we've identified that there are 12 kind of tests that your spouse puts you through before they finally give their heart to you and they let go of their old story or their old beliefs that they have about you right now. Okay. Yes. Just told you that exact phrase, love you, but not in love. Yeah, exactly. So that's a sign there, Lou, that you guys could be stuck in the friend stage. And if you push for commitment too soon, that's going to backfire. So helping you pass these different tests is going to let go of that story or the belief that they have about you right now, and will help you pass all of them. So they no longer see you in the way that they do right now. We talk a lot about narrative here at High Thrive Coaching. Narrative is the belief or the story that they have in their mind that they've created about you. And we're going to replace that narrative with a new positive story so they see you for who you really are and you create the relationship that you really want to have. I call this like wiping the slate clean and being able to see each other with fresh eyes and create a new relationship together that is built on a healthy foundation. So it's not only functional, but it's joyful and it's fulfilling. So we will coach you on how to wipe the slate clean by completely changing their perception about you. No matter how long held their beliefs were about you or how many mistakes you made or they made. So you both can just let the past be the past and see each other with fresh eyes. And so do you guys want to know how we helped our client Leah end her husband's affair and restore trust between them? Okay. Awesome. And Diego's reminding you that you can get your free assessment, and he put that over in the chat as well. So make sure you grab that because, yeah, like I mentioned, spots are full right now. We want to make sure we get you in just as soon as we can. All right. Awesome. Yes, you do. Okay. So Leah's story is this. 1 year ago today, my husband and I brought our son Gideon into the world. But this day doesn't just mark his birthday. On this special day a year ago, I was terrified. Even though my husband was there for the birth of our first son, I was petrified of the unknown, of what was to come, that I had no idea what lied ahead of me, of us. I was afraid I was going to raise our son by myself, that the most my husband would see him was to visit and I would be alone. And he was having an affair with another woman and said, I'm going to leave you and I want to be with this other woman. But here we are 1 year later, and my husband and I are happier than we've been in years and stronger than ever. We are doing this parenting thing together, and we are striving every day to have a thriving marriage. And can you believe it? Gideon is going to be a big brother come September. And honestly, I couldn't have done any of this, and my husband and I wouldn't be where we are today without the tools that Mark Johnston and Heather Choate gave me. And I must say it took work and consistency, but man, was it all worth it. I am truly blessed to have found this program, and I'm so blessed to work with such an amazing team. Thank you guys for all you do. And for those of you working to have a thriving marriage, don't give up. Stay consistent. There's a rainbow after every storm. This too shall pass, and you will rise stronger than ever before. And I love what she says there, because, you know, challenges come to all of us, and it's really what we choose to do about them. We can either let them defeat us and cause us to be a smaller, broken, more unhappy version of ourselves, or we can learn from them and become a better version of ourselves. And that brings us here to the last step, which is commitment. And this is where they give you their heart fully again. Okay. So I want you to imagine how amazing you will feel to know exactly what to do, to have them come running after you and begging to be with you. And imagine what a relief it will be to have a step-by-step plan that takes the guesswork out of it, right? That prescription, the treatment plan. And it takes all the mistakes that you will suffer if you try to do this alone out of it. No more crying, overanalyzing, ruminating, worrying, stressing, beating yourself up, losing sleep, begging them, and crying even more. Just a sweet, easy feeling of peace, knowing that you have now rekindled the romance between you, and you get to spend the rest of your lives together in security, ease, and passion, just you and them together forever. So what is it worth to you to have that? If you were to rate this on a scale of 1 to 100, put it in the chat. How important is saving your marriage to you? Declare it now. Let me know where you are at on a scale of 1 to 100. How important is having a healthy and fulfilling marriage to you? How important is it to you, to your children, and to your future? 100, 100 plus. 100, 100, awesome. 1,000. Love it, love it, love it. That's beautiful. Yeah. And so in just a moment, I'm going to share with you guys how you can get on that free assessment that we talked about, right? And this path coaching program that we have, so that they will come running back to you. And before I do that, though, I want to ask you guys a question. Would you give anything to end the pain that you're in right now? The feeling of 6 elephants on your shoulders, right? As one of the comments here said, and to be back with your love again. Would you give anything to have a new, healthy, and beautiful relationship with them? I know I would. My marriage is honestly the most important and sacred thing in my life. And my husband showed me unconditional love in a moment when it was really dark and I felt like giving up. And I'm so glad that he stood by me. And now you have the opportunity to stand by your love and to show them the light, because right now they're really lost and they're really confused. And they need you to be willing to go first to get them to the happy outcome that you both can create together, and that will show you how to do. Okay. So of course you would. That's why you're here, right? So we've spent thousands of hours working with couples, and we've distilled our most powerful methods into the simple 4-step coaching plan that will flip that switch deep inside your spouse and trigger their desire for you, unstoppable desire for you, and willingness to work on the relationship with you, and have them begging to be back with you again. Okay, that is exactly what happens. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an inside peek. Okay. Sometimes I get asked, well, how long does this take? Well, it varies, but there are some commonalities that we see. Typically, if your spouse is pulling away, wanting a divorce, talking to lawyers, having an affair, within just a week or two, your spouse is going to hit that pause button. They will no longer be talking about divorce. They'll no longer be talking about wanting to move in with their affair partner or give them wedding rings. Okay. So you hit the pause button, and you'll know what's really going on between you. And that is when we can start to shift the momentum towards you. Remember, we cannot push for commitment or connection too soon. It will backfire, right? You guys get that now, right? And then after just the next week or two, when they hit the pause button, within just a few short weeks after that, our clients, we give them guidance on exactly what to text them, right? We'll guide you on what to text them, how to have hard conversations, right? How to restore trust if it's been broken, how to put in healthy boundaries if they're needed that don't backfire, but actually draw them to you and allow your relationship to heal. How to have them want to talk with you, want to spend time with you, and want to be with you again, and flip that emotional switch and trigger their desire for you and desire to work on the relationship. So again, the next step is to fill out this form so that you can schedule your free marriage assessment with us to see if coaching with us is a good fit. Okay. Completely free call. Again, Diego put the link over there in the chat. If you're watching the replay, you'll find it inside the email with the replay video. Okay. It's first come, first serve, and we are very, very full. We're full right now. I already told you guys that. Not trying to be redundant, but just letting you know the reality. So we'll get you in as soon as we can because we know how important your marriage is to you. So I cannot wait to see your marriage thrive. I cannot wait to hear your story and see how your relationship turned around. And I cannot wait to see how your spouse hit the pause button, how now they're starting to take steps towards you. They're asking you on dates. They're creating family plans. Sometimes they're inventing excuses just to be around you. I was just talking with one of our clients. She was that older lady I was mentioning. She's in her 80s, and her husband now is just kind of hanging around the house and helping with laundry and helping with household projects just because he wants to be around her, but he doesn't want to say it. And so it just makes her laugh because he's just inventing excuses to be around her. I also have another younger client in their 40s, and now she's like saying, well, it'd be really nice if we did this with the kids, or it'd be really nice to go on this cruise. Like, she's inviting him to do these things now. And it's a really beautiful thing to see. And I cannot wait for you guys to see and experience that yourself. The biggest question that I get asked, and I'm going to open this up here for a Q&A for the last few minutes. I have about 13 minutes that I can open up for Q&A with you guys. Is this really going to work for me? Is there really hope for my marriage? And I want to challenge that a little bit because yes, there is more hope than you realize. And I also want to look at that in the way that you're actually not qualified to determine if there's hope or not, right? If you are part of the problem, which you are, right? Let's just be honest. Like, we contributed to the situation that we're in our marriage. Like, you're not the only one that contributed, but you do have a part in it. Just because the fact that you contributed to this situation means that you're actually not qualified to determine if there's hope for the relationship or not. And so you need an expert that knows if there's going to be hope for your marriage or not. Some of the markers that we look at is how often are you communicating? And if you are not communicating more than at least 1 or 2 times per month, even if it's surface level, even if it's just about the kids, or even if it's very tense or cold or negative, then there's not a lot of hope for you. I talk to sometimes people come on the masterclass and like, Heather, I haven't talked to my husband for over a year. He lives overseas. We're like 2,000 miles apart. Is there hope for me? And I'm like, no, there's not. And I have to be really honest with you guys because I'm here to help you succeed. And I want what's best for your marriage and your family. It is sacred and precious to me. And so we will always tell you the honest truth. If there isn't hope, we will let you know. But more often than not, there is more hope than you realize when you start doing things the right way. Most of our clients start and they don't actually have a lot of hope. They don't, because it's a really dire, drastic situation, right? Just like when I started my cancer journey, I was given a 5% chance. That's not a lot of hope. What's not so necessary right now is hope. What you need more than hope is you need action. You need to take specific actions that are going to turn this train around, okay? Turn your marriage around. As you start to take positive action, then you can have hope. Then you'll see the momentum. Then you'll see the results, and those positive results will give you more hope. So if you're like, Heather, I'm not sure this is gonna work. I'm not sure if it's possible. I'm not sure if I really like have hope in this. Like, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to turn this around. It might be too little too late. My spouse is doing da 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 da. That's normal. It's normal. What you need is action. That's what's going to save this relationship. If you don't take action, if you wait to have hope, that's like trying to plant the seeds in the garden and like trying to see them grow before you even plant them, right? It's like trying to see the fruit tree before you've even put anything in the ground, right? The hope will come. The results will come. What you need to do right now is take positive action. So if this speaks to you, go ahead and fill out that form right now so that we can show you what the next positive step to take is. And I want to honor you for coming today because you already did take a positive action just by coming here. And the fact that you're here means that a part of you knows that it's possible. A part of you knows that you can do this. You just need help to get there. And a part of you knows if you keep relying on your biological instincts, if you keep relying on the things that you've been doing, it's not going to work. And so you want to know, what do I need to do different so I can get some different results? And that's why you're here. So there's a part of you that believes and knows it's possible. You need to tune out the voices of fear and listen to that inner part of yourself so that you can look back at this time at the end of your life with no regrets, with a peace of mind that you gave your marriage everything and that it was worth it. No matter what the outcome is, you can live your life with no regrets because you've learned the lessons that life is presenting to you right now. You've learned how to actually communicate with people, how to create and deepen intimacy and trust and connection, how to have vulnerability that feels safe, how to be loved and accepted for who you really are. You've put down old patterns that you've probably lived most of your life and that are not serving you, and you're creating new patterns that are going to set you on a totally different trajectory and get you to where you guys said you want to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. You guys choose that destination and we will help you get there. All right. I'm turning it over to the chat now. All right. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm seeing some comments here as you guys are going through that. Diego said, okay, talking about some of the budget. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. We are full transparency and we often customize exactly with where you're at with what will work best. So we will talk about that deeper on the call with you guys and make sure that everything works out, because I get it. When your relationship is struggling, oftentimes finances struggle as well. And so we try to make our programs as customized as possible to help as many people as we can. All right, awesome. You're saying I would give anything. I'm at a point where I understand how people make deals with the devil. Okay, awesome. We'll definitely talk about that. Okay, so let me know any questions that you have for me at this point. I'm going over, let me see if anyone put any in the Q&A. Nope, none in the Q&A. Let's see if I got any others. I'm just scrolling back through the chat. Okay. Awesome. I see you guys talking with Diego over there, getting things set up with the call. Sweet, sweet. If you guys don't have any questions, that's totally cool. But this is a great time to pick my brain, okay? All right, I will keep this on anonymous. He doesn't want to work with me at all. He gave her an engagement ring, 37 years gone. He's taken me off the bank account. I have no access to new money. I am unable to walk. Okay, I'm so depressed. There are days when I nearly can get off the floor. I've lost 35 pounds. I need a miracle in my life. Okay, yeah. And so the fact that he gave her an engagement ring, I'm just going to be completely transparent here, means that you need to do things quickly. And this situation is one that needs to be handled with a lot of care and in order to turn around it. It is one of the more difficult situations. Okay. Again, complete transparency here, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. We have seen people that are having multiple affairs that were engaged to other people, or were promised to other people, or were living with other people, and they still turn things around. So if you haven't seen Leah's story, I encourage you to check that out on YouTube, because she shares exactly how that worked for her. Her husband was in love with love. He said he was in love with another woman and wanted to be with her. Okay. Oh, you say, I know. I know. I wish I so would love to just say that it's 100%, but it's really a situation that's going to be tricky, because when he gives her a wedding ring, that is a sign of making commitment with other people. And so you're going to have to handle this with care and make sure that you get help quickly on that. Okay. Not that it's impossible though, because there is a lot of hope there, even still. We've even had people that were fully divorced get back together. Not always, but yeah, sometimes. Okay. I'm still in the house in a different room, but she doesn't want me to be here. Okay. Yeah, Robert. So the fact that you're still in the same house and she doesn't want you to be there means you definitely need to go through these 4 steps, right? You need to apply these 4 steps to your marriage so that she is willing to work on things that she actually wants you around, and hit that pause button. Okay. Yeah. And so if she knows that you are messaging someone else, and that you, even if you didn't have a physical affair or you didn't want to, then that's probably one of the big stories that she's telling. I'm just assuming from what I'm reading here, right? Try not to make too many assumptions, but that's what I gather, is that she's probably saying, I can't trust him, and created a story and a narrative about you that's way overblown. What happens when we get into this state is that right now you're actually more emotionally sober, quote unquote, than she is. Like, our spouses become very emotionally drunk with the story that they're telling about us, that they get to be a victim here, or they get so much, praise and sympathy from their affair partner, and so much, energy from the situation, that they're really like almost emotionally intoxicated and they cannot think clearly. And so if your spouse were addicted to, and they like addicted to their emotions, right? We become addicted to these stories and to these emotions. And so what would you do if your spouse were addicted to drugs or alcohol, right? The same kind of process applies here. We're going to show them the light. We're going to get them the help. We're going to help them to see clearly and cut through that story so they can see you for who you really are. All right, awesome. Any other final questions? Diego, if I missed any that you saw, if you don't mind just putting them in the chat so I can see them. Yeah, she's got the story that you're having multiple affairs. Yeah, she's created this really negative story, and she's feeling probably very insecure. And so she's afraid to get back together because she's told all her family and friends and is embarrassed and doesn't want to look stupid. Yeah, and so that's what happens. She's like so truly like with this story and with this whole situation, that she feels like she has no other choice now. But we're going to help show her that even if it's embarrassing, that having a healthy marriage with you and a happy marriage with you is more important than trying to save face with her friends, right? Yeah. Is it okay to give her space and leave house for a few days as part of not pushing? So when we talk about giving space and we talk about separation in and of itself is not the end solution, right? So anytime that we hear like you need to have 40 days no contact rule, or you need to separate, or any of those things that a lot of people are recommending out there, you need to be very, very careful with that, okay? Because unless there's a plan and a purpose to that separation, then it's only going to create actually more separation. Now, one of the things that we can help you do in taking the pressure off is having a cooling off period, but there needs to be an understanding and expectation on when you're going to get back together and how you're going to do that. One of the things that we help our clients do is to frame the separation, frame the cooling off period, and then frame the conversation so that you guys are on the same page and you actually have actionable steps to take that aren't just going to leave you more confused and leave things more volatile and up in the air, right? So it's all about working with you guys to create a custom plan for exactly where you are at. Your marriage is like your thumbprint, right? It's as unique as you are. And so you want to make sure that your treatment plan is going to be as unique as you are. And that's what we do in our one-on-one coaching program, guiding you through those steps. All right. I think that was it as far as the final questions here. Thank you all so much for coming. I truly hope to see your marriage thrive. I truly hope that you take some of that positive action right now and that you see that you can turn things around as you do some new things in some new ways. You can get to that result. And above all, that you choose now to learn from this experience so that they don't just repeat themselves. We've all seen people that go from one unhappy relationship to another, to another, to another. So choose now to empower yourself. Choose now to learn the things that you didn't know. Give yourself some grace. And the good news is you can learn them. And when you start to do some new things, you get some new results. So empower yourself. Choose not to look back at this time with regret, but choose to look back at it with a sense of peace and even appreciation for these hard times, because they helped you become who you're really meant to be. And that it helped you to create the relationship that you can really have. So excited to see you guys' marriage thrive. Look forward to talking to you all very soon, and have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you for joining me, and we'll talk again soon.